Ever since she got a haircut, she likes to lay on my bed now. So she's always hanging out there. Ain't that right, Pupper? I don't know, I guess without the fluff, it's easier for her to jump up. But yes, say hi to Luna, everyone. Good puppy. But yes. But enough of that. Let's talk football. We got 3 games to go. We're going to do 2 of them today. Roll the intro. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2022-2023 NFL season and my prediction picks, the Conference Championship Week edition. We are down to the final 4 teams in the NFL, and 2 of them are getting sent home this weekend, and the other 2 will partake in this year's Super Bowl. Super Bowl 57. Is it 57? Oh, well, whatever. I'm your host, Catherine, known as the Blind Canadian Cat. I say meow and I roll intros like that you've seen before. Shout out to the K-Bob for making me that intro. Isn't it a nice intro? We all love it. But with that, let's go into a nice recap of last week, where we go 3-1 straight up. We go 2-2 against the spread, although admittedly, I have to voice a little frustration. On my beautiful Google Docs I have set up on my computer here, I, for the longest time, had, I think Jacksonville will cover, and I think Philly blows out the Giants. But after a while, I convinced myself, nah, I think KC not necessarily dominates, but has a convincing win against Jacksonville, and then the Giants keep it close because they got momentum. And had I kept it what I had started with, I would have been 4-0. But alas, I was not. So I go 2-2. And then totals are a bitch because Wildcard is like, hey, we're going to have 5 of the 6 games go over. And the only reason the other game didn't go over is because the kicker missed 4 extra points. So, fun times. We're going to have all 4 games go under this week. Because, fuck you, that's why. And so I go 1-3 in total. So, as you all know, totals have sucked for me all year, so they're going to keep sucking. Spreads are inconsistent, but with only 3 games left, we have to go 3-0 to get them. Which, with the way these games are set up, you're going 2-0 or 0-2 in the games. There's no either or. So, let's hope we get these right. Do we want to get them right? We'll find that out later in this video. But with that, let us get into the 2 games. I'm going to set my mic down. So, it is what it is. So we have the first game. The NFL has scheduled us the NFC Championship game to go first, with the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the San Francisco 49ers. You kind of got an idea, I don't know when, but by week 13, week 14, somewhere in there, you knew these were the top 2 teams. And these 2 were going to meet in the NFC Championship game. You knew. Dallas might have a once, a vague chance of possibly getting it. But you knew for the most part it was going to be Philly and San Francisco. No one trusted Minnesota. No one did. We never did. But it comes down to the 2 teams who arguably have the best rosters, and I'm just kind of top of the bottom, just the best. Jalen Hurts played like an MVP candidate, got a little banged up at the end of the year, but the rest proved beneficial, and he looked fine in the Giants game. Though, to be fair, I guess he didn't really have to overextend it, considering the Giants game was pretty much a cakewalk for them. So it was what it was. He didn't have to do much, but he did enough. Threw 2 touchdowns, ran for 1. Offense kind of ran all over the place. They did enough. The Giants were clearly outmatched. And they finally hit the wall of reality in Philadelphia. The Niners has been kind of like a, we don't know where this team is. Because it's going to be Trey Lance's team. Gone. Oh, it's going to be Jimmy's team. Gone. And they were middle of the pack. I think they were 3-4 at one point. But then just kind of rode this wave since. And even with Brock Purdy in, which I gotta imagine the requirements for this guy have been very little. The schemes have worked. Again, Kyle Shanahan's smart. We're not. No one is doubting Kyle Shanahan's smart. I mean, he was an offensive coordinator that got Matt Ryan to a Super Bowl, and he was a head coach that got Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl, and had leads in the fourth quarters of both those games. Now he lost both because they're dumb and didn't play call properly, but Kyle Shanahan is smart. He is smart. So that's where I think there is an edge. If there is an edge for San Francisco in this game, it's coaching. While we appreciate Nick Sirianni, we can't put him in that echelon yet. We can't put him there. And that's also why he's not a Coach of the Year finalist. Partially because Jalen Hurts is an MVP candidate. And personal preference, but you can't have both the Coach of the Year and the MVP of the league. That's just a personal preference. And yes, this is coming from me saying that when the Ravens were 14-2, Lamar was the MVP and John Harbaugh was Coach of the Year. I'm biased, so I won't deny it. But that's a personal preference. That's why I think teams like Brian Daboll, Pete Carroll, Doug Peterson. You could argue Kyle Shanahan. I wouldn't be opposed to it, especially since he's rotated 3 quarterbacks and he still figured it out. But, I don't know. To me, again, maybe the expectations of others weren't what the expectations I had. But as far as Coach of the Year, the two teams who I thought were going to be a bottom 5 team both made the playoffs. So I think one of the two should get it. I do. But either way, it is what it is. And then you also have this element here with NFC Championship games, or just title games in general. You gotta remember, Brock Purdy is a rookie. Rookies tend to not do well in title games. Or we could play the game of no rookie quarterbacks ever started a Super Bowl. But everything can be broken. For forever, no team hosted its own Super Bowl. And then we had back-to-back Super Bowls with the host team playing in it. Or the host arena with the team that played in it. So, I guess rules, in theory, they're eventually meant to be broken. But Brock Purdy's just kind of had easy sailing the whole way. And Dallas admittedly gave him fits. That defense came to play. They were lucky that they got away with only scoring 19, because Dallas' offense or mostly their quarterback were morons and just played bad. But you gotta think the Jalen Hurts here, especially being the possible MVP, you would argue those two missed games are going to hurt him against Mahomes, but it's still there. It's not out of the realm to say he's going to win MVP. You gotta wonder if that's going to come into play here. Because regardless how good San Francisco's defense is, Philly is going to score more than 20 points. And now it comes to San Francisco. You're now on the road. I'm trying to remember all the road games Brock Purdy played. I can't remember. The Seattle game comes to mind where he did score 21 early, but then he was kind of just shut down for the most, or that offense was shut down for the most part in the second half of that game. So it's like, you're on the road. You're in Philadelphia. There are road games where it doesn't matter, and ultimately, if you're smart enough, you can probably get away with anything. But I've watched enough football to know, in Philadelphia, that's something different. It's different. And if Brock Purdy, I guess more of this is Kyle Shanahan, yada yada, but if Brock Purdy can make enough plays against Philly in Philadelphia, then that'd be one of the greatest testaments ever out there. And maybe he is the next Tom Brady, but the way I see this, I think at some point you gotta come back to reality. You gotta come back to certain things are just meant to happen, and certain things are just meant to not happen. In situations and circumstances like this, I think Philly just has the dominoes lined up perfectly for them. I think they do. it's... I just... Again, you can look at me saying the same thing about the Bills, but then the Bills losing, but the Bills had Joe Burrow as their problem. Again, Brock Purdy might be that guy, but we're not there yet. We are not there yet. And I think it's... At some point, the parade's gonna come crashing down. I think back to 2008 with Joe Flacco and the rookie, with the amazing Ravens defense. They did their job, but the offense couldn't score much. And then that defense against a rookie quarterback made a play. And that's kind of how that game went. I'm thinking the same thing's going to happen here. This will probably be a close game for a good part of it. I'm not going to deny that. But I think it's going to come down to Brock Purdy needs to make a drive. And I think Philadelphia's defense makes the play that essentially ices it. I think that's what it comes down to. The play and or plays. That's just how I see it. So I'm taking Philadelphia to win this game. And as of now, they are favored by 2.5. Which is a bit sketchy considering everything I've mentioned. Like a rookie quarterback on the road in the NFC Championship game. Like, I don't want to hear how good he's been playing. Philadelphia's been the best team. He's a rookie quarterback. And he barely squeaked by Dallas. While Philly blew out New York. So it's like... I feel like this is one of those things where Philly should have been a 4-point favorite. But I'm not going to argue it too much. I don't think it's that big a deal. And even if they were 4-point favorites, San Fran against the spread probably would have been one of the easier bets. But I feel like Philly should have been a little more favored given circumstance. But imagine this line moving now because of that. I feel like the line's going to move a little bit now because a lot of people are probably laying either Philly or San Fran. Some sides getting a lot of the bets here because in championship games, under 3 points is a pick 'em. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Total in the game is 46.5. This comes down to the defenses. I trust the defenses here to make enough plays. It's going to be a gritty battle. It's going to be gritty. While I do think Philadelphia could put up enough points that they might edge the over here a bit, I just don't think you can underestimate the defenses here. And for as much as Dallas had a potent offense, San Fran shut them down. I don't see how San Fran can't shut down this offense too much either. But I do think they make enough plays. And again, it's going to come down to Philly's receivers versus that secondary. CeeDee Lamb had 100 yards that game. I'm just saying, number one receivers do good. A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith are going to go for 100 yards. Or both of them are going to go for like 75 plus. I promise you. I promise you. But either way, at 46.5, I'm staying under. I think the defense is making enough plays. So we got the Eagles winning. Eagles cover. Under 46.5. Give me the Eagles 24. The Niners 21. Philly wins. They cover. And it's under. Philly's going to the Super Bowl. And then on the AFC side, you have a rematch of last year with the Kansas City Chiefs playing host to Cincinnati. And thanks to Cincinnati beating Buffalo, the game's going to be in KC rather than some bullshit neutral site. So, congratulations, Chiefs. You can now continue having the mantle of hosting the AFC Championship for the 5th consecutive year. Granted, you are 2-2 in overall, so it's, while you can say you've hosted it, it hasn't overall served as great as it is. Now you could argue if it were like a 3-1, you could argue it's there, but 2-2, you could have it go either way. And one of those losses has come against this guy that you're going to play again. And now you're looking at this matchup, and now you're looking at Mahomes with the high ankle sprain. Granted, they posted a video somewhere of him like, oh, I'm walking fine, yada yada. I'm sure you'll be fine after a couple of days of rest where you can just kind of walk around and not have to really put pressure or effort on it. But game day, when game day comes, it's going to be a different animal. And we can talk about all we want. Orlando Brown has been inconsistent. I don't care what anyone says. He's been. And since he's got some pass rushers, Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, they got players. Mahomes, can he still be the Mahomes-esque quarterback that we know him to be? I'm sure he can. I'm sure he'll be just fine. But it's not going to be perfect. And I hope for the love of God, they stop calling those fucking stretch plays. Because I swear, every time they did that is when he was hurting himself the most during the Jags game. So stop calling stretch plays. Hey. But how I see it, it's since he's on this roll, since he's somehow something with Joe Burrow, since he's been part of this team. We don't want to talk about his rookie year, doesn't matter. But since he's taken over, there's a killer mentality he has. The I can do it, where like it's one of those things where it's like he believes he can beat anyone at any given time, and like it's possible. You think back to the Rams Super Bowl last year, like since he had every chance to win that game. The problem was Burrow got sacked 7 or 8 times and damn near died. Aaron Donald fucking did all sorts of illegal activity to that Bengals line, which they tried to address this offseason. They tried to give him so many extra pieces. But now you got 3 dudes who are out. Colin's out for the year, obviously, but like the other guys, I don't know the update on their injuries or if one's coming back. I don't know. But since he's playing with injured O-line, which maybe to their benefit, the Bengals' benefit went to a Super Bowl last year with one of the shittiest O-lines out there. If they can get some consistency with whoever's left on the roster, then they should be fine, honestly. Like, it's right there for the taking. But Kansas City, you have to wonder how much is that high ankle sprain going to affect him. Will it? Realistically, not. He's going to play his game, and whether win or lose, it'll be on him whether or not he made the play. Mahomes is not going to use that excuse. He will not use that excuse. We can use that excuse, but Mahomes will not use that excuse. And honestly, this was kind of like my thing going into the season anyway. Like I said, Buffalo, it felt like everything was on them. Everything was there for them, and it was just going to work that way. And that includes meaning, regardless what happened, beating Kansas City. And now that Cincinnati pretty much took care of business here, you look at it, you try to find a way to believe it, but you look back at last year, and then you look at this injury, and you can say what you want. I don't want to bring up Tyreek. I don't. I think that's unfair to Kansas City, but I think that does play a role. Cincinnati beat you here last year without Tyreek. Who's to say they can't beat you when you don't have it? Travis Kelce can catch 15 passes for 90 yards all he wants in this game, but those other guys are going to make plays. And while I'm sure Eli Apple's going to get burnt once or twice, because that's Eli Apple for you, I think Cincy does enough here. I think this is one of those games where it's, even if Casey gets out early, Cincinnati will be there. And if it comes down to the fourth quarter, Cincy just has a way. This team has a way with Kansas City, and I think they keep it. I really do. As much as I don't want to tolerate another Bengals Super Bowl, I got to go with the Bengals here. I got to go with Cincinnati here. It's just one of those. Kansas City struggles with this team already, and now you want to hinder them more with a quarterback who's not going to be 100%, and with, you can say the overall weaponize are equal, but the point is, Juju and MVS does not equal Tyreek. They are B's. Hill's an A plus. Those two are B's, and I think with that you can get away with so much, but so little. I gotta take Cincy here. The momentum is there for them, and you can admit that they struggle with the Baltimore game, but if you give them a chance, if they believe, they're going to win every game, and I think that continues on so with this week. Now against the spread, because of that high ankle sprain, if they're walking like a hawk, they have the Bengals as 1-point favorites, which you could argue these two teams are equal, but because Mahomes is probably not going to be 100%, since he might be the better team. I hate it. I think even with a high ankle sprain, KC should at least be the 1-point favorite or a 2-point favorite. But I get making Cincinnati the favorite because of the injury. But even regardless if they were the favorite or the underdog, I think you take Cincinnati here. I think they win this game. It probably comes down to another Evan McPherson field goal. That's probably what it comes down to. So I'm just going to roll with it. Take the Bengals. Lay the 1 point they're getting right now. Total of the game is 47.5. All three Chiefs-Bengals games have gone, I think, over 50 every time. So I'm not going to pretend like it's not going to go over 50 again. Yeah, I don't see why not. Hindered or not, Mahomes will still put up points. Bengals are going to put up points because they're the Bengals. I think Buffalo's defense is better than KC's anyway. And you can even argue then that there probably should have been more points for Cincinnati. But that being said, you roll with Cincy, lay the point, take the over, give me the Bengals. Give me them. I'll go. Give me 30, 26. Probably. Bengals 30, Chiefs 26. We're going to go with it. Fuck it. Bengals win, Bengals cover over the points. So there you have it. That is what I am predicting. I am predicting a Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl. Now, is that what I want per se? Anyone who knows me knows that during this time I like to give out my Super Bowl wish list. What I would like to see, personally. And with that, here's my wish list. My one rule, I don't like regular season rematches, and if I can, I'd like to avoid Super Bowl rematches. So with that, I would like Eagles-Chiefs first. That would be my preference. It's two teams, two big-name teams. You can make it the Andy Reid Bowl. You can make it the Kelsey Bowl. You have all these storylines here, and I don't want the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I don't. So, I'd rather KC than Cincy. Plus, I'm sure the roommate would love to have KC in the Super Bowl. Obviously, being a Chiefs fan. And I think it'd just be a better experience overall. But, yeah. And then 2 would be what I'm predicting, Eagles, Bengals. Basically, again, my preference, I don't like rematches. Especially regular season rematches. We had a KC Niners game already this year, so that's my last place. No. And then you already have Niners Bengals Super Bowls in the past, which you could argue this one being a different one now that the Joe is in the striped jersey rather than the red and gold. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but that's just where I'm at. So you can basically get an idea. Preferably, I don't want the Bengals in the Super Bowl, being a diehard Ravens fan, but given the option, especially now with the Eagles-Niners games first, if the Eagles win, I can kind of relax. Or at least hope for KC. If the Niners win, I'm going to be like, Bengals, please win, because I don't want to watch Chiefs-Niners again. I don't. But that's where I'll be. I want to be able to go into the AFC Championship game not really caring who wins because the Super Bowl will be a unique one. So that's why, specifically, I'm rooting for Philly, but would prefer Casey over Cincy. But yep, that's my wish list. That is my predictions. That is everything. We'll recap one more time. I'm picking Philly to win, Philly to cover under 46.5. Cincy to win, Cincy to cover over 47.5. So I'm picking a Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl. I'm wishing for an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl. You see this how it is? So it's a game of, do I want my picks to be right, or do I want to be happy with the Super Bowl? Either or, I want the Eagles in the Super Bowl. As much as Carmine has been a royal pain in the ass on Twitter, I'd rather have the Eagles in the Super Bowl than the Niners, for my own personal reasons. And that is that. That is all for me in this lovely video. Thank you all for watching, liking, rating, commenting, and subscribing to my beautiful YouTube channel and this video. Make sure you follow me on my Twitter, CanadianCatCP, Instagram, The Blind Canadian Cat. Follow me on Twitch. I am trying to stream more. I'm fucking around with Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead mods. And then hop into my Discord. Fun times there. You can also join the Coconut Mall Discord server. You can join Rowan's server. Rowan's been streaming more and trying to get his community back up and running, yada yada. So feel free to join that. Also hop into the NFL YouTube Prognosticators Facebook page. We try to be active in there. I think there's legit only 4 or 5 people really talking, but you know what? Support them all, love them all, give them credit. Shout out to my amazing friend Justin. Always nice hearing his opinion. He is predicting a Niners-Bengals Super Bowl. That's where he's predicting. So, one of us is going to be right. We'll see. And with that, that is all. My name is Catherine. This is Luna. Luna! Luna! Say hi to the camera. Go puppy. And with that, we'll catch you all in the Super Bowl. And hopefully, it won't be just me. Peace, love, and trust. Good night, Internet.